Howdy, unshowered no-nat-ones here, with a video I think is incredibly important to talk about. I do this every so often. Something will pop up in the content creator TTRPG sphere, and I will feel a need to comment on it. And if you hear a humming in the background, it's a fan. It's hot. So, recently, and by recently I mean 9 days ago, because the YouTube algorithm decided not to show me this for 9 full days before it finally popped up on my timeline, the channel One Shot Questers made a post. If you're not familiar with One Shot Questers, they have been some of the funniest comedy sketches in the TTRPG sphere for the last 4 or 5 years. Mainly D&D, but they've done other stuff. Basically, One Shot Questers made a post, and I was halfway through reading it when I said I want to record and talk about this line by line, because obviously a lot of this is personal for them, but everything they say rings so true for so much more than just themselves. So, strap in, get a drink. This isn't going to be a fun video, but it's going to be an important one. One Shot Questers says, I am stepping away as a Dungeons & Dragons content creator. I will still be creating content solely focusing on sketch comedy, which is awesome. They are doing the thing that all of us are too scared to do. Every one of us on YouTube is so scared of stepping away from our niche. I've tried in the past. Y'all remember the City of Heroes era? But it's the scariest thing you can do as a YouTuber. The moment you stop covering the thing that YouTube's algorithm has decided is your thing, your viewership is going to plummet. It's not saying it can't rebuild, but especially if you are a creator of, say, my size, and I don't know what their situation is as far as income, because short sketch comedy is so different from long-form content as far as revenue. A lot of us live in a unique form of paycheck to paycheck. We don't know how much we're going to make next month because algorithms and pay per mil and Patreon and donations and all of that is unpredictable. We can't plan out our income, which usually means we have to assume we're not going to make as much as last month, which is not a fun way to live. And if you're a full-time content creator out there, I'm really curious if you've been through that or are currently in that as well, where you might have some money in savings, but you can't spend it, just in case things don't go well next month. So when OSQ here is focusing on swapping sort of out of their niche, it's still sketch comedy, which is their niche, but they're stepping away from it, Dungeons & Dragons, which is their niche, there's that fear. Because not only is viewership probably going to plummet at first, but even if it can climb up higher than it was before, you have to be able to get through that low period. I'm sure if I stuck to City of Heroes when I did 2 years ago, I would have built up a little bit higher than it was at the time. But, because of life withstanding, I wasn't able to. It's a really hard period because not only do you have to wait to make as much money, it's mentally taxing. The moment those views go down, you know what YouTube shows you? A big gray down arrow on every video you post saying, wow, this isn't as good as your last content. Wow, people aren't watching this content. Look at my Final Fantasy X video. I'll put the analytics on screen. I'm not afraid to share them. These numbers are incredibly low because it's not Pathfinder. Now, I plan to keep going with this style of video, which will hopefully bring in its own audience, but the foreseeable future where I experiment with that content is incredibly scary. I'm focusing too much on this. Let's move on, otherwise we'll be here all day. With the urgent questions out of the way, let me explain more of my reasoning. Since the start of 2023, you've probably noticed that I experimented with a lot of different content on the channel. We all are. We all want to escape our damn niche. A lot of us found our jobs in 2020, 2021 during lockdown and everything, which is great. I'm so happy a lot of people got to find success because of such a horrible tragedy. I'm one of them, and I'm grateful for it every day. But let me tell you, after 5 years of doing the same niche, I've made over 500 videos about Pathfinder. I want to make something else. We saw Reddit stories, live plays, cooking, giveaways, even live shows. Unfortunately, nothing stayed consistent. The hardest challenge of YouTubing in general, let alone if you are experimenting with new content. Because if you're just experimenting with new content, not only do you have to consistently experiment, but if you're not going full pivot like I am with Pathfinder right now, you need to find the time to consistently post your niche and consistently experiment. And that, hard. From the content itself to the channel's identity, it all felt scattered. I'd like to put it this way, the channel lost its identity during this period. That was 2023 and 2024 for me. About halfway through 2024, I managed to find myself again. It was after I moved and got out of a horrible relationship. But for 2023 and half of 2024, it was bad. A lot of it was my personal life affecting me, but a lot of it was something that OSQ gets into in a minute here. The silent killer of my enjoyment and fun in making content was Dungeons and Dragons. And I've gone through this myself. There have been so many times I've said, I don't think I can keep making Pathfinder content. I'm not enjoying Pathfinder content. If there's any of you out there who are wondering, where's the Exemplar Guide? Where's the Animist Guide? Those classes have been out for 6 months. I don't enjoy spending 12 hours on a Pathfinder video. I still will from time to time, and I still do enjoy it from time to time. But the reason I'm doing a little bit shorter content is because I'm trying to still experiment with how to enjoy Pathfinder. You know, I'm putting comedy intro skits back into my videos, if you've noticed recently. I'm changing it up so it's not just, here is the game and how to play it, thank you for watch, like, subscribe. So before I tackle those big projects, I need to find a way to enjoy it again. Otherwise, it's going to be 90 minutes of me saying, so the Exemplar's next icon allows them to restore 1d8 hit points every single turn. That's crazy. And that's not the video I want, you know? I want to have fun with it, I want to be silly, and I need to find out how to do that. So I don't blame OSQ for saying that D&D is killing their enjoyment. Pathfinder's killed mine. Multiple times. Sometimes it comes back, but not always, and I'm guessing it's been gone for a while if they're making a post like this. You read that right. D&D was the main reason I started to lose my grip on the channel, my role, and my enjoyment. This doesn't mean it was all bad. I had a blast from 2020 through 2022. Hello. Yes, hi, I'm also a TTRPG creator. It's probably no surprise that things changed after that. The Wizards of the Coast OGL fiasco in early 2023 was the turning point. It chipped away at my love for creating D&D and even TTRPG content, and I didn't even realize it at the time. I went through that as well. The hard part for me was, on top of it just skewing my perspective on TTRPGs forever. TTRPGs, ever since the OGL, are no longer, oh, that cool game I share with my friends and people talk about online. It's a business now. I'll tell you. Obviously, it's always been a business. They've always sold D&D for the last 40 years. Never felt like one until 2 years ago. It never felt like I was playing a product. It felt like I was playing a game. These board games on my shelves that you can't see past the scarf, those don't feel like a business. Because let me tell you, Baser Games, they're one of the biggest board game makers. They're not Hasbro. You know, they're clearly making things they care about. It's once Hasbro got taken over, and because D&D is so quintessential to TTRPGs as a whole, it's affected my entire view of the genre. Obviously, D&D is not the only TTRPG. I barely play it. I play once a week right now, and it's the only 5e campaign I've played in 3 years. But it still affects the grand over scope of TTRPGs. So I absolutely understand when OSQ says that it's affected their love for TTRPG content. It affected mine as well. The biggest thing it did to me is my mental. January and February of 2023 were the 2 strongest months of my entire life as a content creator, because I was talking about the OGL and my channel exploded for a short time, and I hated it. Don't get me wrong, the ad revenue, the viewership, all the new people, that was awesome. I still have regulars in my streams and comment sections today that say, I found you during the OGL, and I'm so glad I did, and you make my heart go boom. But the content I was making was so negative. And if you know me, if you followed my channel, you know I hate making negative content. I love to talk about things I enjoy, and why I love this genre of game, and how I want to share it with more people and help you enjoy your game more, rather than talking about all the reasons they might suck. That's not fun. That's not what I want to do. It's never been what I want to do. So I hated those months. I made an incredible amount of money compared to the rest of my career, and I hated every video I posted. Especially because the videos didn't even have much effort in them. I basically just talked, and those got more views than anything I ever put passion into. And that's a whole other video as a content creator, when your shit posts and low effort content get more attention than your actual passion projects. But that's neither here nor there. Wiping my hands. Making anything D&D related during that period just wasn't fun. The community was split. Comments ranged from rude to outright threatening. Yup. Commenters, to everyone who's ever posted a beneficial, kind, uplifting comment, sincerely thank you. I wish they had a bigger effect. I've heard this is not just a me thing, but 10 positive comments have less effect than 1 negative comment. And it hurts. It really hurts. It's so easy to say, just ignore the haters, dude. Just do your thing. Look at all the people who love you. Ignore the bullshit. I wish it was that easy. Even when you ignore it, I have comments I'll read 5 words of and stop because I can tell it's going to be an asshole. That still weighs down, you know? There's something about the fact that someone went out of their way to send a message to insult you. That alone, even if you don't know the context of the insult, it hurts. And even if you think about it, let's say I get 5 of those comments on every video. Remember, over the last 5 years, I've made over 500 videos. Imagine thinking about 2,500 unique people insulting you. Sure, it should be easy to say, look at the 1 million people who enjoy your content. It's not that easy. I'm losing the plot again. Sorry. Whenever I get into videos like this, I just love to attach my own experiences. Partially because I feel like maybe you'll find it entertaining, but also because, if OSQ ever watches this or any other content creator ever watches this, I hope they know they're not alone in these feelings. It's tough. It's really easy to feel like you're the only one feeling this way when it comes to content creation. Because content creation, even with collabs and internet connections be damned, it's a very isolating career. Meanwhile, there was a forest fire of new TTRPGs launching. I had fans and creators reaching out constantly to play, support, or showcase new systems. Hi, OSQ. Remember that time we sent, a sentence on Twitter? And then we said, yeah, let's do this! And then neither of us did. I wasn't against any of it. It became overwhelming. Yes, I'm a fraction of OSQ's size. I'm still overwhelmed, oftentimes. There are people who will message me on, Blue Sky or Discord DMs and say, hey, I just wanted to give, I wanted to, let you know that your videos really helped me and my friends play Pathfinder. It's been awesome. And I'll read that. And I'll go, that's so sweet. I don't have the mental energy to respond. I barely have enough mental energy for myself and my friends. So it's tough. Then people reach out, not even for collabs, but people who just reach out to be kind. It's always amazing to read. But it's not always easy to respond. So I can't speak for other content creators, but if you have ever messaged me with a compliment or just anything like that and I didn't respond, don't take it personally. I was probably just socially overwhelmed, and then the next time I was finally not overwhelmed, I'd forgotten about it. I started to feel like all this new stuff was being shoved in front of me, and each shove pushed me further away. I didn't fully notice the decline or how short my patience had gotten until the second half of 2024. That's another really big part of content creation. I think this is true of every job in the world. You don't realize how good or bad something is until months after it started happening. It's so easy to push anything into denial, to say it'll get better, to say no, I'm just having a bad day when I think about it this way. Once again, it's happened to me multiple times over the course of my career. It'll usually cause me to pivot or experiment more. And yeah, it's something you shouldn't ignore. But it's hard because pulling it back to the paycheck to paycheck thing, you have to ignore it to pay rent. What was happening in the second half of 2024? 5th edition 2024 was coming out. And I'll be honest, I got bitter during this period. I saw all my content creator friends getting opportunities, early access, and invites to special events for the new release. Meanwhile, I got nothing. I went to Gen Con and found out many creators had access to exclusive events and free materials. I had to buy it all myself, I wasn't invited, and I was bitter. This is, unfortunately, understandable, and it's something you just have to work on. There's no saying, yeah, that's right, you did deserve that, because the companies themselves are the ones who decide that, I guess. And short-form content gets a really shit end of the stick at the end of the day. A lot of short-form content does not get support from the things they are making their content around. I don't know why. Maybe it's because short-form content doesn't sell as well. You can't add a 2-minute merch plug or a commission plug to the middle of a 20-second video or TikTok. But it is unfortunate to see, especially in the realm of TTRPGs, which feels like it's constantly 10 years behind modern day, even with all the stuff going on with Hasbro. I feel like short-form content does not get the recognition it deserves for helping to market and get people invested in certain hobbies and genres and whatnot. But I just talked to someone about this on Blue Sky the other day, about how comparison is the death of creativity. Comparison is the death of enjoyment. It is human nature to look at someone who just got something and say, why didn't I get that? But every time you do that, it makes your job as a creator so much harder, so much more taxing. And everyone, like, I'm sure OSQ knows this. Like, I'm not like trying to, like, holier than thou OSQ here. I'm just talking for a general perspective, because again, I think some people just want to hear this, to know they're not the only ones feeling this way. We all do it. We all look at someone. I have friends, very close friends who are content creators who, yeah, in the back of my mind, I'll go, why do they get more views than me? Why are they so much more successful than me? It's not fair. And the thing you have to do, the moment you start saying, that's not fair, or I deserve that, you have to take a step back. You're not them. You're not doing everything they're doing. Their career is not your career. It's something I've struggled with for years. Years. And I still do today. I'm better than I used to be. I'm good at sort of focusing on myself. Remember when I said content creating is a very solitary career? That's sort of part of it. At the end of the day, you have to focus on yourself. And that can be really hard to do. I finally realized something had to change. I wasn't happy. I wasn't having fun. Was it because of the OGL, the missed opportunities, or was I lying to myself on how passionate I really was about D&D? Gods, that's the worst part. A lot of people will look at a content creator and go, oh, they're just covering D&D because it's popular. Oh, they're just covering whatever, Path of Exile 2 because it's popular. And just because that might be the case, the content creator themselves might not even know it. This is a perspective I think the average viewer will not even consider. Because I've gone through this self-doubt multiple times about Pathfinder. I've had so many days where I'm unhappy at work. You know, we all have bad days at work. And I'll go, do I even really like this game? Do I even really enjoy playing this game? And it's hard. I always come back around to, of course, yes I do. I get to hang out with my friends, I get to tell cool stories, whatever. I love this game. But that self-doubt creeps in, and you don't even know if it's real or not. You don't even know if it's, I'm having a bad day, or I'm actually not passionate. There's a reason OSQ here says, was I lying to myself on how passionate I really was? With a question mark, you know? Even, I'm sure they don't know. Because at what point, the lines of passion and, like, revenue and job get blurred. Which part of this squiggly squid is my passion, and which part is just me making money, which makes my life easier? Where does the passion stop and the convenience begin? That's a really blurry line not everybody can read. Some people are lucky and they're both. Some people are lucky and their passion is what makes them successful. But for a lot of us, there are days where we can't tell if it's success that keeps us going or passion. Because you can't just nail that down. You can't open the brain and look at the register. Either way, the passion and love for creating content around D&D and TTRPGs was gone before I even knew it. What happened next was exactly what I needed. I hit a low point and decided to try something new one last time. Because I had nothing to lose. That's a really scary point to be in as a creator. I've been there before. I was there when I mentioned the City of Heroes era. That's sort of where I was. My viewership was low. I wasn't enjoying making Pathfinder content, so I tried. I had nothing to lose. I was also in the lowest point of my IRL existence, so that didn't help. But it's scary and liberating. When you have nothing left to lose, you are free to try anything you want. But it's also scary, because that means you are no longer invested in your current content whatsoever. So I did live comedy shows, and those shows weren't just successful and enjoyable, they surrounded me with people who cared about me, and more importantly, cared about my characters. Let me say that again, my characters. Between 2023 and now, the very characters you grew to love started showing up less and less. Why? Oh. Because I was chasing algorithms. It's something we all gotta learn to stop doing. There's a lot of logic and rules out there of if you want to succeed on YouTube, if you want this to be your job, use the algorithm. Figure out what's trending. Figure out how to incorporate it in your content. Let me tell you, fuck that. That's how you kill your job as a creative. I'm still making Pathfinder content, sure, but I'm making the content I want to make. That's why I made the Final Fantasy X video. I'm going to plug it right now. If you haven't seen the Final Fantasy X video, go watch it. It was a blast. I loved that video. My favorite video I've made in months. It's horrible. And I'm enjoying my job more, even if viewership is slightly down, making content about and how I want, rather than trying to make the perfect thumbnail with the perfect title, edited the perfect way. It's miserable. Because I was making content where they didn't fit. Because I was taking away the very thing that made this channel special, because I was forcing myself to fit in. Chat, do you remember the classic explanation from your parents, or as from an adult when you're a kid, of don't just be the same, be different? It was, don't be the same as everybody else. Find what makes you special, embrace it. How many movies have been published with that as their main, message of be special, don't fit into the norm, don't conform, be your weirdest you. I think Robin Williams and Weird Al have both said that on different occasions too. The people who came to our live shows were my saving grace. They reminded me lovingly and loudly to never forget them. They cheered when I played the bard. They lost their minds when I threw it back. Let's go, the paladin with the oath of throwing it back. And I promise I will never abandon my characters again. Let's fucking go, OSQ. Let's go. Stick to the creativity. Stick to what's important to you. Those shows reminded me that I have a talent for creating characters and scenarios that people genuinely connect with. I found my identity. I found my talent. I found what OSQ truly is after 5 years. Let's go, dude. That's amazing. So what now? I'm going back to making regular, consistent sketch comedy videos centered around my characters. The setting will be a generic fantasy world that anyone can enjoy, not just the D&D TTRPG crowd. Let's go! That's sort of the goal at the end of the day. Is you can't, if OSQ woke up tomorrow and started making comedy sketches around truckers, no fantasy, no recognizable characters, but was just like, yeah, I like trucks, so I'm gonna make comedy sketches about sketchers, Reeboks. I'm going to start making content around trucks. That'd be tough. I'm not saying they couldn't make it work, because I feel like they're really good at comedy writing and could absolutely make truck sketches work, but it wouldn't be the same. And especially in the modern internet content creator climate, I don't think it would work. You need to bridge the gap. And this bridge could be great if over the course of the next few months they start dropping a few truck jokes, and then they make one about fantasy trucks, and then they make one about normal trucks. There's a bridge there. That's that slow pivot. You move a couple degrees at a time, which if they keep doing it generic fantasy stuff with their characters beyond just D&D, it's going to open things up so much more to keep exploring. Something that's really hard to see in the moment is I want to experiment. I want to do X, but I can't because I'm currently doing Y. Well, find a good middle ground. Find a way to do Y with a little bit of X, and then a little bit more X, and then slowly change the percentages so without the audience even realizing, now you're more X than Y, to the point where you might be able to ignore Y once or twice for a video, just to make a video about X, and see what happens. It's an experiment, it's a slow pivot. You can't just 180 your audience in one video, but a couple degrees at a time over a while, and not only will your current audience adjust to what you're making, but the new audience that is interested in X will find you too. Although Dungeons & Dragons won't be the main focus on the channel, I still love playing the game and other TTRPGs. I will continue to be a part of live plays / content with other creators and still go to conventions and events. Again, I still find joy in the game, I just don't find joy or passion in creating content for it on my channel anymore. I respect the hell out of that. I love that. Being able to separate that jaded lack of passion from your work and not let it affect your love of the game. When I did my subathon this year, when I streamed from November through March nonstop, I didn't play much Pathfinder, and I didn't make any videos about Pathfinder. That reignited my love of the game. Once the subathon was over and I was able to jump into campaigns again, I'm running 2 now, oh my gods. I forgot how much I just love the game. Not talking about it, not teaching it, not, making videos about different mechanics, just playing the game with my friends. Oh my gods. I forgot how special that was. And it's sad how easy it is to forget that specialty when it's also your job. I can't speak for other TTRPG content creators, but once again, sometimes those lines get crossed of which one's my passion for the game and which one's my passion for work, and how one can affect the other. Is this a metaphor? Is this a physical metaphor, or am I just doing hand motions because I don't know what to do with my hands? To wrap this all up, I'm back where I was in 2020 to 2022, running this channel by myself, no editors, no extra on-screen talent. Just me. That's how I've always been. I've tried to hire editors in the past. I've had 3 or 4 different temporary editors. None of them have ever really stuck. I think I just prefer having my own hands on my own content. It's not that I don't trust people to make my content good, I just worry that if you get people involved, at least as I am right now, A, I can't afford it, shit's expensive, but B, I want the content to be wholly me. And that's something I want to give more weight to. That's why I'm enjoying editing more lately. That's why I'm enjoying scripting lately. I'm loving my little comedy skits at the beginning of my videos because they're me. It's all me. Everything you see on my channel is 100% me, and that's what I want to give out. I want people to be here for me, and Pathfinder's a bonus. And now my focus is on rebuilding the channel, regaining your trust, and most importantly, having fun again. Isn't that so hard how those are two separate things? Because regaining trust, chat, oh my god, the subathon still lingers in my brain. You, the viewer, even if you are one of the people who says, go make whatever you want and I'll support you no matter what, even you have your trust broken. When I go 3 weeks without uploading a video, I've broken your trust. When I make a video that is not what you expect from the channel, in a way, I've broken your trust. You expect me to release a Pathfinder video. If I release a video about the board game Sorry, most of you are going to be a little bit let down. And even if you're not consciously let down, you're still like, okay, this video is less about Pathfinder than I thought. And it changes your view of the channel slowly. I have so many channels on my subscriptions list I haven't watched in 3 years. Not because I ever went, wow, I don't like them anymore, they broke my trust, but probably because over the years they changed their content slightly to the way that I didn't enjoy as much. And honestly, like, even I change. You know, you, the viewer, change and your interests change. You might not like the same content you did 3 years ago. The fact that some of you have been following me for this long is crazy. Thank you for your never-ending support and patience over these last few years. I know I just recently found my old groove again, but man, it's the first time in a long while that content creation felt like fun, not work. Love you all. Duke. Let's go, Duke. Let's go. That's amazing. Good for you. It's hard, because a lot of people will call you selfish if you want your work to also be fun. There are so many people in those negative comments I mentioned earlier saying, well, guess what? You do a job. Jobs aren't supposed to be fun. Well, creative jobs need to be. Try being creative when you're miserable. Not a single bit of juice flows. It's the difference between making a video when I'm happy versus making a video when I'm depressed. A, if I'm depressed, I'm lucky if I can even get behind the camera. And when I do, my jokes land worse. I'm not as clever. My editing is so much lazier. Everything comes out looking a lot more bland. Because your mood directly affects the kind of content you're able to produce. And it's because, like I said, it's 100% me. You know? To give another example, when I do community theater, that's not 100% me. That show is like 4 or 5% me. So even if I'm having a bad day, it doesn't really show through. It might show through if you isolate my performance a little bit, but it doesn't affect the entire production. But if I am scripting, recording, and editing and uploading the video all myself, my mood is going to seep into every single step. The script will be more lackluster with less jokes. The recording will be flatter with less good delivery on the information and the jokes at hand. The editing is going to be boring. There won't be as many fun zooms or effects or things that make my videos me. And probably a lackluster title and boring thumbnail. Sometimes I make boring thumbnails on purpose, but that's just because it's funny to me. It's so important to enjoy your work. I think that's true beyond creatives as well. I don't want to sound pompous like, you wouldn't understand, you're not a creative person. But no matter what your job is, you shouldn't be forced to do something miserable. It's a horrible fact of this country. You know, especially the people of the older generations, not trying to generalize here, but a lot of people from the older generations will say, I hate my job. I hate my 9 to 5 that I've worked 45 hours a week to support my family. I'm like, okay, that's really sad for you. 45 hours of your life every week is misery? I don't care what the paycheck is. I'd rather make $30,000 a year doing something I love than 6 figures. I think that's a good place to leave this video. Duke, I'm proud of you for being so vulnerable in this post. I wish I saw it 9 days ago when it first went up, but I suppose better late than never. I sincerely wish you nothing but the best. From one creator to another, you've always been killing it, even if I haven't always been watching. You've always been that presence. Like, I feel like we're on opposite sides of a football field. And you've always been near that end zone. That's the name of, like, the goal in football. You've always been near that end zone. And I've always been near this end zone. And once in a blue moon, I'll go, oh, I know them. I don't know where this is going. Thank you all for watching. Be kind to everybody. Obviously, like, be kind to creators, just be kind to everybody. Rude comments can cause a lot of this. It's not the only source of stress as a creator. But it'd be a lot easier if we could just turn the damn comment sections off.